I'd like to begin by just talking a little bit to all of our boys and girls who were here for First Communion. What a great special day. Hopefully you're excited. Hopefully you feel that this day, which I think about it so long ago for me and still a day that I remember. And not only do you get to celebrate it with your family and with your friends, but with a whole bunch of other people at the 12 o'clock Mass here today. And what a great day to celebrate. Ascension. Big word that simply means going up. And the story that we heard from the Acts of the Apostles, which St. Luke tells us about in his second book, he wrote the Gospel of Luke and then the Acts, is he now picks up with the fact that Jesus Christ, who after he rose from the dead, stayed for a little while with his friends, with his apostles. And at this particular reading, they sense, he starts talking about the fact that he's got to go back to the Father, to God the Father. And where's he going but up to heaven? And they know it. They kind of sense it. And they're a little bit afraid. They were a little bit sad because it is their good friend. And so he talks to them a little bit, and then lo and behold, right before their eyes, he goes up, his whole body goes up into the heavens. And they do what we would probably do, the same thing, would be like, look, where did he go? Looking up. It's like he's not here anymore. But immediately, that notion is changed by two angels who come and speak to them. And he says, why are you looking up? Jesus went where he said he was going, and he will come back in the same way. We never had the opportunity to have Jesus right here as a person, as a human being, sitting with us. But he never, ever, ever leaves us. Because you are his friends. You are the ones that he loves. And so, instead of looking up, the angel wanted them to look out, right into the world that they lived in. And so we find Jesus still, but he's now just a spirit that we call the Holy Spirit. But he's still very, very, very much with us. And he's with us in our family, our parents, our brothers and sisters, our grandparents and aunts and uncles and everybody else. He's in us, he's here with us in our friends, and the people that we like to spend time with and hang out with, and so on and so forth. He's with us in yourselves, in your heart. Jesus lives. You received him as a little baby at baptism, and he's never, ever left you. But now today, at this age of 7 or 8, when you're able to know more than a baby and be able to understand a little bit, he shows us yet another way that he will always be with us. And it's right here, right at this table that we call the altar. Because when Jesus was having supper, the last meal with his apostles, before they even knew he was going to come back after rising from the dead, he said to them, he took the bread and he took the wine, and he said, "This is my body, this is my blood. Every time you come here, do this in memory of me. Remember me. Remember that I'm right here, that I'm with you. I haven't gone to heaven to abandon you. I've gone to heaven so that the Spirit might be everywhere." While Jesus was on earth as a human, he could only be in one place at one time. But now with his Spirit, it's everywhere. And so Jesus wants, like any good friend, wants to hear you, wants to be with you, wants to show you his love. And you can do that in many, many ways. Just say a little prayer. It could be a prayer that you learn, like the Our Father or the Hail Mary, or it could just be talk to Jesus like you would anybody, any friend. And say, "Hi, Jesus, I'm here." And whether you won't hear a voice back, but you know that he is listening and he is loving you and he wants to guide you and he wants to help you always. I think it's not just a problem for sometimes children, but maybe a bigger problem for adults. We too sometimes are looking up. We're looking somewhere that we shouldn't be. Because God is not remote, and God is not aloof, and God is not somewhere where we can't find him. God's right here in the midst of our lives. I think one of the big mistakes, and I include myself in this, that we people of faith during this tough year plus, that we didn't look enough to God. Or if we did, we were looking up somewhere instead of right here in our midst. That's the beauty of what we do here. We may not get all of it. It's a little bit mysterious. It's a little bit mystical. But this is not anything less than Jesus himself coming to you. And today you receive that for the first time. But the good news is that anytime you go to Mass in the future, not only will you be able to come and sing and pray and so on and so forth, but you'll be able to receive Jesus because now you have received your first communion. You are also an inspiration to us because us adults need to learn from the children. Jesus always said, be childlike. Your wide-eyed enthusiasm, your innocence, your beauty as little children is something that really we look at ourselves and we don't see that. But we were once children like that. And in God's eyes, we never change. We are his children. We are the ones that he wants to care for. But we have to believe and trust and reach out to him. So today, we don't need to look up. We could look into our hearts. We could look among the family and friends that you brought here today. And we could look to this table and know that Jesus himself is here for each and every one of us.